Regardless of your department or jurisdiction's record management system, Weed IXP will work with your capabilities to help you identify and deliver optimal intelligence products. Our premier software solution is a custom-built Power BI dashboard. These dashboards are customized both cosmetically and functionally to suit the needs of the client and can deliver automated periodic reports, direct query response, built-in visuals and mapping, and CAD, records, and jail data in a single user-friendly interface. One of the other benefits of the Power BI dashboard is that you host your own data. We build and maintain the dashboard as needed, but your data stays in your control, even if we're not on scene. To build your custom dashboard, you first identify what data you want included. This client incorporated traffic tickets, accidents, case reports, incident reports, officer activity, timesheets, bookings, jackets, and warrants, and we build the queries that access that data. We translate your data to a standardized data structure that can be interpreted by Power BI and output as a standard set of dashboards. And then we work with you to determine which data you want readily available and how you want it displayed, whether at a desktop or in the field. Now at this point, I'm going to turn the floor over to one of our analysts who is going to walk you through a demonstration of a BI dashboard she developed and applied at a client agency.
So everyone should be able to see a few different dashboards here. So I'm just going to go through these very quickly because they serve different purposes for this particular client. This first one is called Quick Statistics. The idea here is command staff gets a monthly briefing, but they don't have their statistics until the end of the month. Their RMS system is running on a nightly update. This update's 10 minutes behind that, and this is fully accessible on their phone. So what we're seeing here is a breakdown for the year by month of distinct incidents so that they can track and see if COVID's having an impact and stay-at-home orders. We have a year in full so that they can see 18, 19, 20. We also have the nature of the call so that they can see if it's more non-emergency based, 911, or officer initiated. This is their timesheet system, and specifically this has been filtered for that which comes from their overtime budget. We know that the client has some financial strains this year. Overtime is their biggest uncontrollable expense. The minute that a timesheet is approved in their system, it's automatically feeding over to here with their various codes so they can tell if it's shift extensions, if it's sergeants burning the overtime. Loan is when one precinct has to send someone to another precinct outside their bid, and that's actually billed as overtime. If it's callback, things of that nature. We have an active count of warrants. This is important because this particular client also runs a jail, that the beds are not being fully utilized right now because of COVID, but they are having to maintain a pre-COVID staff level. So this is designed to give them an idea of if they arrested everyone today, what would the jail look like? The records division processes and merges all their files. Review level 5 means that the file is completely in the system. So this gives them a count in real time for the year of how many records are still pending in a queue somewhere. Whereas this bottom one tells them since August 1st, how many cases we went out on with a disposition that ended in an arrest, a booking, or statutory requirement to write a report. It's been more than 7 days, and a report has yet to be fully processed into level 1, which is their starter process. So in this case, this department has almost 1,000 staff members that are sworn in some capacity, and we're missing 333 reports as of this morning. Like I said, this one is fully also accessible on their phones, which is very nice for when they're meeting with their county council. They can discreetly take a look at it. And basically, if someone says something from the council that is a statistic that they disagree with, they immediately have facts in their hand to counter the point. The next dashboard is their active warrants. This particular client is the custodian of record for multiple jurisdictions. So this is an example of what Power BI refers to as slicers. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and pick the clients, and you will see everything updated in one click. They can pick based on where the subject lives. Precinct commanders told me they wanted the ability to just pick their precinct, so we built them this. The gender came into play because it was pointed out to me that sometimes we have room in the jail for women, but not men, and vice versa. So a filter was there. or if they want to work a particular crime type, they can use this pull-down menu here. So what I'm going to do in this case is, let's say I just want warrants issued before lockdown, the month before. So I already know for this client, they have 2 Class C felonies, 4 misdemeanors, and 40 gross misdemeanors. Blank indicates that the individual lives outside of the jurisdiction, so they're in another county or in another state. The next page automatically updates with a map of where the individual lives. These little dots become line charts. It's the month that the warrant was issued if it remains active. So if we're looking at a larger timetable, we can tell if we have a problem where, say, in January, a lot of warrants got issued and did not get worked. The map operates in real time again. So if we hover on a dot, we see the first warrant at that address. What's the charge? Who's the person? And because we're recording, I'm not going to hit this button, but this last one is an Excel sheet that has further details on this individual beyond address. It has their height, their weight, their social security number, their date of birth. The idea being that they can export the Excel sheet, shove it in their pocket, go out, work an area, and when I'm going to pretend Kaylee's standing in front of me, if Kaylee says, I'm not Kaylee, and the spreadsheet says, well, you have 1 blue eye and 1 green eye, and that's really rare, and that's what you have, woman in front of me, you're Kaylee. Just helps with that. It's not designed to replace NCIC. It is designed to help precinct commanders and beat sergeants specialize the information in 2 buttons down into their area of command. The next one is something that is still being finessed ever so slightly, but we got some questions about being able to say an officer's activity for a month. And specifically, we didn't just want to say they worked 30 incidents and they billed 100 hours. So in this case, I already pre-selected a particular deputy just because I know he's one of their more active persons. This is everything he billed in his timesheet for the month of August, down to the exact minute. So we can see where he's been working. Did he take vacation? Did he use comp time? Things of that nature. How many tickets did he write? How many charges are on the ticket? What's the dollar amount? There's actually a map right here of where he wrote the ticket and what the charge is. This is his activity for the month. You can see because he is assigned south, most of his activity is there. The sergeant would want to double check why he is on a call in 2 different precincts. Right away, we see his beats. We see how many incidents he responded to. One of the complaints that I got about the previous report was an allegation that some deputies might put themselves on a I'm going to assist with that call and inflate their number. Well, here's a pie chart that tells you exactly what his rate of these 152 calls are for primary versus secondary. We also have a pie chart for each person that tells you exactly what sort of calls they tend to take first. In this particular client's case, officers are rarely assigned. It's very commonplace for them to go over the radio. Dispatch will say, I have a call for an abandoned vehicle. And Charlie 2, for example, might come back and say, I'm available, put me on that abandoned vehicle. So you will see this pie chart of what they're working. We have a further breakdown of their primary and secondaries, again, with more map and details. We see the traffic incidents that they tend to work. How are they closing their traffic incidents? This came into play because of allegations that in certain parts of town, are people more likely to do arrests, write tickets, or give warnings? This shows you that in this individual's case, he is most likely to give a verbal or written warning. The map also indicates the part of town where he's doing that behavior. Arrests is another example. In this deputy's case, he was primary on 5 arrests, but he also backed up another 17 arrests, and this is over the course of just 1 month. This shows you the type of arrests. And then the last one, disposition R, is things that require a case report be written. This is designed to help identify what type of cases he's working. I know right now for specialized units for testing, they actually went ahead and asked all the applicants to pull this data on themselves and provide it. That way they could show that they do have experience working calls that are the type of calls the particular specialized unit will be working on. The last one I'm going to show you is an operations dashboard that is at the captain level, and there's a few different things happening here. So this is a window of opportunity model. This number is not an actual case count. The higher the number, the greater the likelihood you're going to catch somebody in the act while on a proactive patrol. So in this case, let's pretend that I am the sergeant over Charlie 1, and it is Wednesday, and it is September. Today, my deputies are most likely at this particular client to catch someone in the act during the 7 o'clock hour. There are no cases going back to January 1 of 17 where the victim reported that the crime occurred between this time and this time that encompass the 8 o'clock hour. So perhaps morning briefing can be held during the 8 o'clock hour versus the 9 o'clock and the 10 o'clock and the 11. You can see additional. Then we notice 2 o'clock again, there's nothing. Then we notice from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., there's nothing. Again, great information to have if you are wanting to schedule a training, if someone needs a couple hours off to run a personal errand, and like we discussed briefing. The other way this can work is if I take off the beat and I look at the entire command for September and I say on Wednesdays, let's say I am the auto theft task force. I can actually go in here and I can pick theft of a motor vehicle. And now I see a map of where most of my thefts occurred on Wednesdays in September. You'll notice that the beats have actually filtered themselves for where there's activity. And then if I want to go, you know what, I want my guys out at 8 a.m. proactively patrolling. Well, now I have a map of where those previous auto thefts happened during the 8 a.m. hour. So now instead of the sergeant having to filter through all his auto thefts and having a conversation where he goes, I hear there's a problem at the park and ride at 8 a.m., like we so often hear. Instead, he's looking at hard data. He knows that right down here, he has a cluster during the 8 a.m. hour, and he can tell his people on proactive patrol, during the 8 a.m. hour, I want you focused right here and right here. If he does make an arrest, any defense attorney who tries to say that we profiled a particular part of town for socioeconomic or racial reasons will then be basically confronted with the fact that the data was filtered. It goes back case data all the way to January 1 of 17. We looked at the particular hour, the particular day of the week, the particular month, and that's what drove us to patrol in that area.
For more information, feel free to reach out to us via phone or email, and be sure to check out some of the other videos on our website.